She confronted the arrogant billionaire next to her, but he was her secret blind date at midnight. The clock struck 12 in the heart of the city, where the streets pulsed with neon lights and whispered secrets. Jenna stood outside the lavish restaurant, her heart racing like a drum. This was it. She could feel it in her bones. Her blind date, rich, mysterious, and supposedly enchanting, was waiting inside. Or so she thought. With every step toward the entrance, an electric tension crawled up her spine. What if he was nothing like she imagined? What if he was some insufferable jerk, rubbing his wealth in her face? Inside, the place was a maze of shadows and low-lit chandeliers. The aroma of gourmet dishes filled the air, but all that lingered for Jenna was the tang of uncertainty. She scanned the room, searching for the man who would change her life or ruin it. Suddenly, her eyes connected with a figure in a tailored suit, leaning against the bar, looking as if he owned the world. He was everything she dreaded. The perfect mix of arrogance and charm, with a smirk that seemed to cut through the ambience like a knife. She felt a lump in her throat. Was this really her date? Where are you looking? His voice was smooth, dripping with disdain. The atmosphere shifted. Did he just dismiss her with a flick of his perfectly manicured fingers? The patrons nearby turned their heads, intrigued by the tension crackling in the air. She could see the other diners exchanging glances, some with raised eyebrows, others stifling chuckles. A sharp intake of breath escaped her lips. He caught her staring. I can't believe this is what they call a date, he continued, his eyes glinting with mischief. But before she could muster a response, she felt a rush of courage. And I can't believe I'm being set up with such an arrogant billionaire. Her voice cut through the noise like a gunshot. A hush fell over the crowd, breath held tight. Shock painted the features of those around them, and she could swear she heard someone mutter, "Whoa." Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Her words hung heavy in the air, creating an invisible wall between them. For a moment, everything froze. And then, just as abruptly, the tension broke. The billionaire leaned in, a spark igniting in his cold demeanor. You have no idea who you're dealing with, do you? His tone had shifted now. It was dark, filled with a challenge that sent chills down her spine. Jenna's heart pounded harder. What secrets lay hidden underneath that expensive suit? As he stepped closer, she could see the flicker of something. Could it be fear or intrigue? The crowd around them faded into a blur, leaving just the two of them. I guess it's time to find out, he said, a slow smile creeping onto his face. And just like that, the lines defining their worlds began to blur. What did he mean? What secrets did he hold that turned a simple date into a confrontation at midnight? Jenna's heart raced, each beat amplifying the weight of his challenge. She had stepped into a world where she felt utterly foreign, yet captivated by the enigmatic pull he wielded. His gaze was penetrating, as if he was peeling back the layers of her guarded exterior, and for the first time, she felt exposed. Who are you? She demanded, her voice steadier than she felt. There was an edge to her words now, imbued with determination, ready to cut through the stillness surrounding them. The whispers of the nearby diners turned to a dull murmur, but their eyes remained glued to the spectacle unfolding before them. Just someone who understands the true cost of everything. His smirk widened, revealing a hint of arrogance that both fascinated and infuriated her. But you wouldn't know that, would you? At that moment, the restaurant burned with palpable tension. Jenna gritted her teeth. Try me. I'm not some naive girl waiting for a knight in shining armor. His eyes flashed, betraying a glint of curiosity mixed with something darker. Maybe not, but you still walked into the lion's den uninvited. You have no idea who I am or the kind of game we're playing. The last words slipped from his lips like venom, each syllable sharp enough to cut. She hated him. Or did she? Jenna felt the tug of an undeniable attraction clawing at her, tainting her righteous anger. Her fists clenched at her sides, the imminent fight raging within. If you think you can intimidate me with your wealth and your secrets, you're sorely mistaken, she shot back. Around them, the ambient sound of clinking glasses and hum of conversation faded into a distant echo as they engaged in their battle of wills. Jenna felt as though the entire world had narrowed, focusing only on their moment. Suddenly, his expression shifted. Gone was the arrogance. In its place was a hardened resolve that unnerved her. Resilience doesn't always win, Jenna. Some games can leave scars that run deeper than skin, he warned, stepping back slightly. Scars? Was that a threat? Her breath hitched as she realized the gravity embedded within his words. What had she stumbled into? In that moment, she felt like a moth drawn to an undeniable flame. The billionaire straightened up, regaining his poise. Do you really want to know what this is all about? Jenna's heart raced. She could feel the truth, buried and dangerous, just beneath the surface of their confrontation, waiting to be unleashed. Yes, she whispered, her voice barely audible, yet reverberating with a fierce yearning. He stepped closer again, lowering his voice, and a shiver ran down her spine. If you're looking for a fairy tale, you might just get a nightmare instead. With that ominous warning, he turned abruptly, moving toward a darkly lit corner of the restaurant, beckoning her silently to follow. The room swirled with confusion and intensity, the thrill of the unknown intoxicating yet terrifying. Without thinking, Jenna found herself trailing him, a part of her screaming to turn back, but another part this ignited curiosity demanded she push forward. She could feel every eye on her as she walked deeper into the shadows, aware that this was just the beginning. What had she gotten herself into? The moment hung heavy in the air, filled with anticipation. Jenna knew she would have to confront whatever demons lay ahead, but would she have the strength to unravel the truth hidden in his world? With every stride closer, the tension pulled tighter, whispering the promise of revelations that could either shatter her or set her free. And just then, she heard him say, "You'll regret this." But was she ready to find out just how deep this rabbit hole went? The dim light of the corner booth sliced through shadows, illuminating his sharp features as he leaned against the wall. Jenna felt as if she was walking into a trap, yet every instinct pulled her deeper into the tension coiling between them. The din of the restaurant faded, leaving only the beat of her heart, each pulse echoing her mounting fear. He raised an eyebrow knowingly. "Welcome to my world, Jenna," he said, his voice low and smooth like honey, but with an underlying bitterness that sent a chill down her spine. "Here, secrets are currency, and trust is a luxury few can afford." Jenna swallowed hard. The thought of what lay beneath his surface both terrified and intrigued her. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. His lips curled into a half-smile. "Do you really want to know how far you've stepped? How much you might regret this choice?" She took a breath, the air thick with the scent of something dark and seductive. "I wouldn't be here if I didn't want to know." Determination infused her words, trying to mask the tremor of uncertainty creeping in. "Fine." He stepped closer, their faces inches apart now. "It's a cutthroat business out there. Everyone wants a piece of you. But with me, you won't just lose a piece, you'll lose the whole damn game." The warmth of his breath ghosted over her cheek, and again, it melted her resolve. Was this tension just flirting, or was he drawing her into something more sinister? "Tell me what you want," she urged, pushing back against the intoxicating pull of his presence. "Desire has a way of distorting truths," he replied, his voice teasing, yet there was a darkness to his gaze that held Jenna captive. "It always leads to pain. You'll find out soon enough." Feeling the weight of his words, Jenna glanced around the booth, the nearby tables filled with curious patrons still watching them. Her cheeks flushed, both from their intense exchange and the reality of the situation. It was as if they were the only two people in the crowded room. "What makes you think I can't handle it?" she shot back, igniting the spark of defiance within her. "Because, Jenna," he said slowly, emphasizing each word, "you're still holding on to your innocence. You think you're walking into a fairy tale, but this story is drenched in blood, real blood. Her heart dropped. Are you threatening me? He chuckled softly, the sound cutting through the atmosphere like glass. Oh, no. Think of it more as a warning. You don't know what you're getting into, but you're clearly curious enough to find out. As he spoke, Jenna felt the walls closing in, the reality of his warning holding her captive. Each word wrapped around her, tightening like a vice. Did she truly want to know where this path led? But before she could respond, a storm of emotions surged up from within her. She reached for the edge of the table, grounding herself. I can take whatever you throw at me. Just stop with the games. He stared at her, measuring her resolve. There was respect behind his piercing gaze, but a dark amusement flickered just out of reach. Maybe you're tougher than I thought. Then he leaned in, closer, as if what he said next required privacy that was impossible in their crowded surroundings. But there is something you should know, the game has already begun. Jenna's pulse quickened as dread and anticipation intertwined. This was more than just a challenge, it was a deadly dance, and she was already off her feet. Before she could press for more, a loud crash interrupted them, shattering the tension like glass. A nearby table had tipped over, drinks flying, gasps echoing all around. Jenna jumped, instinctively grabbing the edge of the table for support, her heart racing even faster. As eyes shifted to the commotion, the billionaire kept his gaze locked on her, his expression unreadable. Do you think this was a coincidence? He asked, a slight grin tugging at his lips. Jenna shivered. What do you mean? He straightened, the shadows gripping him more tightly now. Every transaction has a cost, Jenna. You need to decide if you're willing to pay the price. Because only then can we uncover the truth hidden in the chaos. The walls of the restaurant felt like they were closing in as her mind reeled. What if this was just the beginning of something dark and dangerous? Was she ready to confront whatever lay ahead? Her breath caught in her throat as she felt the weight of his gaze pinning her in place. As the chaos around them grew louder, Jenna knew this was the moment that could change everything. But just as she opened her mouth to respond, he turned abruptly, making his way toward the exit, leaving her breathless with uncertainty. I'll be waiting for your answer. Don't keep me long. The door swung shut behind him, but the question loomed large. Was she prepared to confront a world filled with secrets, and more importantly, was she ready to confront him again? A heavy silence enveloped Jenna, amplifying the chaotic aftermath of the fallen table. Laughter and hushed whispers spiraled around her like a distant storm, but her focus was drawn inward, wrapped tightly around the implications of the man who had just left. Don't keep me long. The words echoed in her mind, tauntingly tempting her to chase after him. With a deep breath, she pushed her chair back and stood up, her legs shaky beneath her. She needed answers, that insatiable curiosity driving her forward even if the warning bells clanged against her inner voice. Jenna stumbled out into the night, the cold air hitting her face like a slap. The world outside was stark and bright, illuminated by streetlights that flickered like her own racing thoughts. There he was, leaning casually against the sleek, dark car parked at the curb, shadows playing across his features. He made the mundane look enticing, but there was nothing ordinary about this man or the world he inhabited. Each step she took felt heavy, weighted with the uncertainty of what he wanted from her. Did you think I'd just leave you there? She challenged, brushing aside her anxiety. A smirk spread across his lips. Didn't he take you for a runner, Jenna? His tone was teasing, but she caught the hint of seriousness buried beneath it. You should know better than to chase after the dark, especially when there are shadows lurking in the corners. Are you always this cryptic? She found strength in her frustration, pushing back against the magnetic pull he seemed to have on her. Only with those who show interest, he replied, his eyes sparking beneath his long lashes. And you're here, aren't you? Asking questions, ready to leap into the unknown. Just remember, knowledge comes with a risk. Jenna hesitated, her heart thumping audibly against her ribs. What are you saying? That I shouldn't have come? That I'm in over my head? Not at all. I admire your courage. He stepped closer, the space between them crackling with energy. But you need to realize the stakes. You're playing a game against opponents who won't hesitate to cut you down. What do you want? The question hung between them like a challenge. She could sense an invisible line being drawn. This wasn't just a dance of words, it was a battle for control. I want to show you the truth, he said simply, but the weight of his promise lingered in the air, a heady mix of excitement and dread. But to see it, Jenna, you have to let go of the things that bind you. You'll need to dive deep into darkness. I'm not afraid of the dark, she declared fiercely, but even as she spoke, she wondered if that was true. The weight of all he implied settled in her gut. Then let us see how brave you really are, he challenged, and before she could respond, he opened the car door, gesturing for her to enter. Get in. Each second stretched, filled with conflict. A part of her was screaming to turn back, to go home, live her life untouched by the swirling chaos he represented. Yet another part, the part that clung to curiosity and the thrill of the unknown, urged her forward, into his world. Are you ready? He asked, an unmistakable gleam in his eyes as he held her gaze, daring her to step over the threshold. Jenna took a deep breath, making her decision as fear mixed with an exhilarating rush. Yes. Before she knew what she was doing, she slid into the car. The door clicked shut, sealing her fate. As the engine roared to life, she turned to him, her heart racing with anticipation. So what's next? A wicked smile stretched across his face. Welcome to the hunt, Jenna. Let us see just how far you'll go. The car sped away into the night, and with each passing street lamp that cast fleeting light inside the vehicle, Jenna realized the truth: there was no turning back now. The game had truly begun, but the rules were still a mystery, and somewhere, in the distance, she sensed shadows stirring, waiting to unveil their secrets. She couldn't shake the feeling that danger lurked not just outside, but within herself as well. Did she truly know what she was getting herself into? As they turned a corner, her breath hitched at the sight of a looming figure in the street ahead, every nerve ending sparking with an unsettling awareness. No matter what lay ahead, she understood in that moment, her choice had consequences, and the thrill of the chase was only just beginning. The car navigated through the city streets, a blur of light streaking past like spectral visions. Jenna could feel the rhythm of her heart thrumming in time with the engine's growl. The atmosphere was electric, charged with an unspoken tension, and she turned to the man beside her, desperate for answers. What do you mean by the hunt? She asked, trying to cut through the haze of his enigmatic smile. That's part of your awakening, he said, eyes glistening with mischief. The world is bigger than you can imagine, a web of secrets, and tonight, you're in the center. Jenna clenched her fists, impatience sparking her worry. Just tell me what I need to do. He studied her for a moment, a flicker of admiration dancing across his gaze, before he leaned back in his seat. All in good time. First, you need to understand what you're up against. The people we're about to meet, they're not who they seem. A shiver danced along her spine. Just when she thought she might tap into his confidence, his shadow of uncertainty clouded the air between them. Why trust you? You've barely told me anything. Because I know things about you that you don't, he replied, his voice low and hypnotic. And because I could have easily left you behind, like the rest. But you intrigue me. Me? Intriguing? It felt absurd, yet there was truth in his words that stirred something within her. She fought a wave of emotion, pushing it aside. It was too soon to let her guard down. What kind of game is this? Why drag me into it? His smirk deepened, revealing sharp teeth against the pale glow of the passing headlights. The kind that reveals your deepest desires, Jenna. You want adventure, danger, a taste of the unknown. Tonight, you'll find it. Just as she opened her mouth to retort, the car rolled to a halt outside an upscale nightclub pulsating with heavy beats. The sound seeped through the closed windows, inviting yet daunting. He turned to her, the playful spark in his eyes gone, replaced with something more serious. Step carefully inside. Be aware. Not everyone here will have your best interests at heart, he warned, taking a deep breath. Jenna nodded and pushed open the door. The blast of sound enveloped her as she stepped onto the sidewalk. People brushed past her, swaying and laughing, but the atmosphere crackled with an undercurrent of risk that he appeared at her side, his presence a steady anchor amid the chaos. Together, they walked toward the entrance. Jenna's mind raced with questions the shadows he mentioned, their implications, but elation coursed through her veins, rendering her worry nearly intoxicating. Inside, the room was awash in colors, bodies moving rhythmically under neon lights. But beneath the glitz, she sensed something darker, a tension lurking just out of sight like a predator waiting for its moment. "Stay close," he instructed as he led her through the crowd, weaving between revelers with an ease that made her heart thunder. Her senses were heightened, the adrenaline combining with a flicker of fear. This wasn't just an adventure, this was a descent into an underworld filled with intrigue and danger. Suddenly, he stopped, zeroing in on a group at a nearby table, silhouetted figures cloaked in mystery. As they turned, Jenna froze. One face was familiar, haunting her thoughts like a ghost. "Who are they?" she whispered, her pulse quickening. "Friends and foes," he replied, a note of grave seriousness in his tone. "The real question is, which will they be for you?" Before she could respond, the figure approached them, a mix of charm and menace in his smile. "Ah, Jenna. We've been expecting you. Welcome to the game." In that instant, she struggled to piece together the fragmented puzzle. The last echo of her heartbeat filled the silence around them. What had she stepped into? And more frightening, was she ready to uncover the truth, no matter how dark it might be? The man beside her shifted, blocking her view for just a moment. But it was enough time for uncertainty to seep in, wrapping around her like a shroud. Suddenly, she was hyper-aware of her choices, and they felt impossibly heavy. As the first chilling words fell from the stranger's lips, the stakes of the night crystallized. Jenna braced herself, realizing the hunt was far from over. And now, it was hunting her. Was she prepared for what she was about to learn? The stranger leaned closer, his grin wide and unsettling, and Jenna felt the tension squeeze her chest like a vice. She forced herself to meet his gaze, the unexpected recognition sharpening her instincts. Cold adrenaline pulsed through her veins. The familiar figure pivoting toward her was Richard, the untouchable billionaire she'd seen on magazine covers, his life a spectacle of wealth and excess. Richard. The name felt like a breath caught in her throat, laced with disbelief. This man, someone shrouded in lavish parties and scandal, now stood before her with an air of casual dominance. She should have been enamored, or at least delighted, but all she could feel was unease. "Surprised to see me?" His tone was teasing, almost playful, but the sharpness in his gaze warned her not to underestimate him. "What are you doing here?" she managed to ask, her heart thumping like a war drum. The crowd swirled around them, but it felt like they were encased in glass, isolated from the thumping music and swirling lights. "I could ask you the same question, but I already have my suspicions," he said, his voice low and conspiratorial. "You wanted adventure, didn't you? Well, darling, congratulations. You found it." Her palms tingled, a mix of anger and attraction coursing through her. "This isn't just any adventure. This is dangerous." The realization made her words come out sharper than intended, slicing through the haze around them. "Danger is a relative concept," he replied, staring at her as if she were a puzzle he was eager to solve. "And you're more than equipped to handle it." The man beside her shifted, eyes narrowing on Richard, an unspoken competition flaring between them. Whatever this was, it wasn't just a social gathering. It was a battleground of wills. "Enough games," the stranger said, his tone more commanding now. "Jenna isn't a pawn in this." Richard's laughter rang out, echoing against the vibrant backdrop of the club. "Oh, but she is. Whether she acknowledges it or not." He stepped closer to Jenna, invading her personal space, and she felt a shiver of both thrill and dread race up her spine. "The question is, are you ready for the truth?" At that moment, a jagged pulse of uncertainty eclipsed her bravado. The reality of the night shifted around her, the masks of allure fading to reveal the looming shadows of manipulation and power plays. Had she really asked for this level of intrigue? "Let us cut to the chase," Jenna asserted, summoning a courage she didn't quite feel. What is this? A game? You all know something I don't, and I'm done playing along. Hushed whispers slid through the crowd, almost like a wave crashing into her. She clung to her determination, but Richard's gaze sparked with a dangerous allure that made it difficult to focus. Very well, he said smoothly, the playful menace dancing on his lips. Let us go somewhere more private. I'll lay it all out. With a flick of his wrist, he signaled to a door shrouded in shadows, away from the pulsing crowd. Jenna's heartbeat quickened, but the pull of the unknown was too powerful to resist. The man beside her tightened his grip on her wrist. I'll go with you. You don't have to do this alone. But despite his intention, Jenna felt an unexpected clarity come over her. She needed to know. Not just what Richard wanted but who she truly was in this game. Thank you, but I'll do this my way. With that, she stepped forward, her breath hitching, a thrill racing down her skin. The door creaked open, swallowing her into yet another world cloaked in secrets. The moment she crossed the threshold, the weight of the night pressed down on her. Her fate was tightening its grip around her heart. Inside, she would discover truths yet hidden, but would the knowledge lift her, or would it shatter everything she thought she knew? Behind her, the man watched, uncertainty etched on his face as he stood at the precipice of a revelation one way or another. They were all in deep now. What awaited her beyond that door could change everything. Or would it merely expose the demons lying in wait? The dim light inside the room was a stark contrast to the vibrant chaos of the club. Jenna felt a sensation like ice sweeping through her veins as the door thudded closed behind her, sealing her away from the cacophony of laughter and music. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the quickening thrum of her heart. Richard leaned against the wall, arms crossed, his shadow looming larger than life. The flickering overhead lights caught the angles of his jaw, enhancing the tension radiating from him. It sent a shiver up her spine. The coolness of the air mingled with the heat of her anger and fear, creating a charged atmosphere that was thick enough to slice through. Do you feel it? He asked, his voice a low murmur that seemed to resonate within her. The excitement creeping in as everything shifts. This isn't just about wanting adventure, Jenna. This is about power, who wields it, who craves it, and who gets buried under it. What are you talking about? She shot back, fighting the urge to step back. He was right, she felt that electrifying pull, that sense of being on the edge of something monumental. You're talking in riddles. Just tell me what you want. Richard pushed off the wall, his gaze narrowing, and stepped closer, invading her space again. What I want is for you to understand what's at stake. You're entangled in a web, and the sooner you see it, the better. What's at stake? You're being cryptic. Jenna could feel the tension coil within her, every nerve igniting with the urge to confront him. Why did she let herself be drawn into this? Just say it already. A slow smile curled his lips, a predatory gleam in his eyes. All right, then. Let us be direct. He paused, as if relishing the moment. There's a secret society that wants to recruit you. You've been identified as a potential player. She blinked, a mix of disbelief and intrigue dawning on her. The words hung in the air, heavy and unnatural, like a spell cast to ensnare her. Recruited? For what? To play games of manipulation and power? A wave of frustration crashed over her. This isn't a movie, Richard. What do you really want from me? He stepped even closer, his breath grazing her skin. More than you know, Jenna, trust me. There are things you can learn, and strength you can gain. You're being watched, and not by just anyone. You've caught some important eyes. Jenna shook her head, frustration bubbling into anger. This isn't some charade to flatter my ego. I'm not interested in your billionaire games or your secret clubs. Just let me go. Richard's demeanor shifted, the ice in his eyes hardening. You think you have a choice. The moment you entered that club, you stepped into another world. You wanted adventure, and now you'll need to decide how you'll navigate it. As he spoke, the temperature in the room dropped, sent shivers racing down her spine. The danger was palpable, wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. You're telling me I'm trapped? She whispered more to herself than him. You've always been a part of this, whether you realized it or not. Richard's tone softened unexpectedly, curiosity replacing the arrogance. But I can help you. If you choose to let me. Jenna stood frozen, conflict churning inside her. She could call for help, burst out through the door, but was that the right move? A nagging voice in her head warned her to consider his offer carefully. He was right about one thing: adventure had a way of holding tightly, and nothing was ever truly what it seemed. The door creaked subtly, and she turned, catching a glimpse of a figure lurking in the shadows watching. A thrill of fear ran through her. Who else was there? What did they want? Who's that? She stammered, every ounce of bravery fading as the weight of her circumstances bore down upon her like a storm. Richard only smirked, the shadows of his secrets swirling around him. Welcome to the real game, Jenna. It's time for you to decide. The mysterious presence loomed larger now, as reality shifted again. She was in a world where choices mattered, where one slip could lead to disaster. She needed to figure it out fast before it was too late. What had she stepped into, and how could she escape this tangled web? Her fate hung in balance, teetering between revelation and peril. Would she uncover the truth, or become just another pawn in Richard's elaborate game? The figure in the shadows stepped into the dim light, and Jenna felt her heart drop. It was a woman, tall with striking features, her dark hair cascading down her shoulders in waves. She had an air of sophistication that screamed authority. For a moment, Jenna's thoughts spiraled. Who was she? Was she part of Richard's world? Was she a threat? Who are you? The words tumbled out, shaky but firm, desperate for answers as her breathing quickened. Just a friend, the woman replied smoothly, her voice as silky as her dress, which shimmered like obsidian. I'm here to offer a perspective on what it means to play in Richard's universe. Enough with the theatrics. I want to leave. Jenna's fear turned to anger, her hands curling into fists by her side. The woman glanced at Richard, who still leaned nonchalantly against the wall, a smug smile dancing on his lips. You can't leave yet. Not until you understand how to survive. Survive? Jenna echoed, incredulity spilling over. You're scaring me. There's power in fear, Jenna, the woman said, stepping closer. It can either paralyze you or propel you forward. Your choice. Jenna's instinct screamed at her to run, but she was frozen by a fascination creeping in. What did this all mean? Was this a twisted game, or was something bigger at stake? Richard took a step forward, breaking the tension. What Ella means is that the choice is yours. Ignorance is bliss, but it can also be fatal in this game. Ella? Jenna repeated, connecting the name to the commanding presence. This is insane. I'm not playing any game. I didn't sign up for any of this. You didn't need to sign anything, Richard said, his tone deepening. You were chosen. You want to know why? Because you have potential, even if you can't see it yet. The mention of potential tugged at something deep inside her. Could she really be capable of something greater? Or was it another manipulation to trap her further? You want to know the truth? Ella interjected, studying Jenna closely. Every player in this game is being watched. Choices matter, and sometimes the right choice could lead to freedom or to a darker fate. Right choice? Jenna questioned, feeling her pulse race. What's that supposed to mean? Who's watching me? Richard straightened. Everything you did, every move, every decision, it's been observed. You're in the crosshairs of people who want power. They need players like you, those who can grow into the upscale, influential world we offer. A sudden chill snaked along her spine as doubt began to gnaw at her. How had she unwittingly stepped into such a web? The thrill of adventure flickered, transforming into something more sinister. What if she was already too deep? Now, you can slam a door on this and walk away if you're willing to accept the risks of walking blind into your future. Ella continued, her eyes gleaming with a fierce intensity. Richard's face remained impassive, but the tautness of his jaw told Jenna that he, too, was on edge. "I can't just agree to this," she stammered, a lump forming in her throat. "I don't even know what this game entails." You need to decide who you want to be," Richard finished, his voice low but persuasive. "Play your hand, Jenna. Reject it, and fade into obscurity just like every other wannabe who left. Or take the plunge. You may just surprise yourself." The weight of the moment hung heavily as she looked at each of them, their stakes clear. Fear, excitement, and confusion tangled within her. But then, a deeper fear clawed at her. What if these games weren't just about power? What if they had consequences far beyond her imagination? As if sensing her hesitation, Ella leaned in closer. "You have until midnight to make your choice. This world won't wait for you." Midnight. The clock was ticking, and the air thickened with urgency. "What happens if I refuse?" Jenna felt her hands tremble slightly, but her voice steadied. Richard smiled again, but this time it didn't reach his eyes. "Refusing means you walk back into the life you've known, and believe me, they will find you." Jenna's heart raced. She was backed into a corner, uncertainty pressing on her. With two powerful figures standing before her, ready to welcome or threaten her future, she realized that a very real crossroad loomed ahead. Could she trust them? The tension crackled like static electricity as she weighed her options, unsure of what awaited her. But one thing was certain: whatever happened next would alter her life forever. As the seconds ticked down, the darkness that surrounded her expanded, whispering promises and threats alike. And she felt the urgency rise, blood pounding in her ears. Was she ready to step into a world where shadows ruled? When the clock struck midnight, would she still be standing? The air stifled around Jenna, a tangible weight that bore down heavily as the clock's hands inched closer to midnight. She felt like a deer caught in headlights, frozen between fear and curiosity. The pulse of uncertainty throbbed in her ears, mingling with the soft tick-tock that reminded her every fleeting second counted. "Time is running out, Jenna," Richard reminded her, his voice low and smooth, wrapping around her like a serpent. The smirk hadn't left his lips, it just seemed tighter, more calculated. "What exactly happens when that clock strikes?" She countered, defiance flickering in her chest, but uncertainty nagged at her. What was Richard's goal here? What did he gain by pulling her into this twisted web? "You'll find out soon enough," he said, his tone teasing like he was taunting a child who couldn't keep up with the game. Ella, still watching her with piercing eyes, stepped back just enough to give Jenna room to breathe. "Don't wait too long," Ella echoed, her words sharp as glass. "Choose wisely, or this moment will slip away, and you may not like what you find on the other side." Chaos erupted inside Jenna's mind. She could flee into the night, into the shadows thundering around her, where the truth of her previous life waited secure but suffocating. Or should she leap into the unknown, this enticing yet frightening world these two promised? Each option sparked dread, and the mix twisted her gut. "Do you think it's a coincidence?" Richard suddenly intruded her thoughts. "You being here, on this night? You were drawn in, like a moth to a flame." "I came here to meet someone else," she shot back, feeling her cheeks flush with indignation. "I didn't ask for any of this." "Which is precisely why you're so valuable," Ella interjected, tilting her head as if examining a rare marble. "You've stumbled upon our game, Jenna. And it's your turn to play." "Play what? You think I'll just roll over and follow you too?" Her voice trembled, but it was anger masking fear, now a comforting mask she desperately clung to. It felt like diving off a cliff. Richard stepped closer, his presence overwhelming. "You don't have to follow anyone, but be careful. The real danger is ignorance. You think what you want is awaiting you on the other side of that door," he said, nodding toward the exit. "But they've already set their sights on you." "What do you mean?" Jenna breathed, her confidence wavering. "While you weigh your choices, pieces are moving on the board, you just don't see it yet," Richard said, tapping a finger lightly against his temple, a twisted grin curling his lips. "They've bookmarked you. You're a potential asset, and they'll stop at nothing to seize you if you turn them down. That cold grip of fear slipped around her throat again. What are you saying? Who are they? Ella remained silent, and Richard seemed to relish the tension. They are the puppet masters. They have power beyond your understanding. They've made a deal with us, or should I say, with you, Richard explained, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. You could either become a decoy for them or gain influence and take charge of your own destiny. But what does that even mean? Jenna felt her pulse quicken, 100 questions trailing through her head, desperate for clarity. It means you're at the crossroads of a greater game than you've ever imagined. Choose this night to embrace the truth, or let fear dictate your retreat, Ella said, the urgency now palpable in her eyes. The hands of the clock continued their relentless march toward midnight. Decide, Jenna, Richard urged, closing the gap between them. Your next move could alter everything, including the lives of others. Jenna blinked, her heart racing. Could she actually be part of something bigger? Or were these just empty words designed to captivate her? Suddenly, the lights flickered, and a loud thud echoed through the corridor, interrupting their charged atmosphere. Jenna's heart stopped. What was that? Fear surged anew, twisting her stomach into knots. All part of the game, Richard replied coolly, his gaze shifting toward the source of the sound. I'd recommend making your choice quickly. Midnight loomed closer as shadows danced on the walls, and Jenna felt the very essence of her life hanging by a thread. But what if there were forces even vested beyond Richard and Ella? The thought sent icy chills down her spine. Would her choice loom in darkness, or would it bring her the light she so desperately sought? With that thought lingering, she felt the fabric of her reality shift. As the chime of midnight pierced the atmosphere, everything began to unravel around her. What awaited her when the last chime echoed? The clock struck midnight with a resounding chime, slicing through the thick silence that cloaked Jenna and leaving the world teetering on the edge of chaos. Jenna's heart raced as time slipped into a delicate balance of tension and fear. What's happening? She stammered, feeling reality fracture around her. Richard's eyes sparked with a mixture of eagerness and darkness. This is when choices have consequences, Jenna. The game doesn't wait for anyone. An electric pulse ignited the room, shadows flickering like restless spirits. Jenna felt the walls closing in, the weight of decisions pressing heavy against her chest. The adrenaline surged through her, each heartbeat a drum echoing urgency. Make your choice, Ella reiterated, her voice steady yet urgent. This is the moment that defines you, Jenna. Images flooded Jenna's mind, the comfort of her predictable life, the thrill of the unknown, and the lurking shadows she couldn't escape. What if I don't want any of this? The words spilled out desperately, a plea more than a challenge. You already have, Richard replied smoothly, a smirk carving his features. You sought adventure, but now you see the stakes. Ignorance could cost you everything. Jenna tightened her fists, anger growing amidst the turmoil. Stop playing with me. Just tell me what I need to do. It's not that simple. Richard stepped toward her, his gaze intensifying. You don't just join this game. You need to fight for your place in it. You must choose to embrace your potential or allow it to be stifled forever. And there it was, the invisible thread binding her choices. Was she ready to break free, or would she let herself be consumed by the dark forces that had already taken root? Images of the club, bustling with life and fervor, juxtaposed against moments of quiet trepidation filled her mind. Choose to take control or step back into a world that doesn't understand you, Richard urged, his voice low and commanding. Jenna swallowed hard, the clarity in his words cut through the confusion. What if she could rise amidst the chaos? What if she could wield the power instead of being just another player in someone else's game? I choose, she began, inhaling sharply as the clock's echo hum grew louder, urging her, pulling her deeper into the nexus of fate. I choose to fight. Richard's expression shifted subtly, a spark of respect igniting in his dark eyes. Welcome to the hunt, Jenna. The world is yours to navigate now. Keep your wits about you. Ella nodded, her demeanor softening slightly as if Jenna had passed some unseen test. And remember, you're never truly alone. Allies can be found where you least expect. With resolve replacing fear, Jenna felt the oppressive weight lift slightly. Embracing the unknown didn't feel as terrifying now. Instead, it felt like a new path opening beneath her. She wasn't just stepping toward danger but taking control of her own narrative, and without warning, the door behind them burst open, revealing a figure cloaked in darkness. Shadows danced around him as he stepped into the room. Jenna's heart skipped a beat. The newcomer radiated intensity, and she could feel the stakes rising anew. "Richard, Ella. I see you've made your choice," the figure growled, eyes glinting with purpose. "But you know the real danger lies ahead. There's no turning back, and the others will know you're making your move." "Let them come," Richard replied with confidence, a shift in tone indicating readiness for battle. "Jenna is one of us now." Jenna braced herself, realizing they had crossed a threshold. The real game had begun, filled with secrets, power plays, and revelations that threatened everything she had known. She felt a rush of exhilaration pushing to the forefront. The thrill of not just living for mere moments but stepping boldly into a fight for her own destiny was intoxicating. "Yes," Jenna declared, voice steady. "Let them come." The shadows around them quivered with anticipation as newfound strength coursed through her veins. The clock had struck. Midnight marked a beginning rather than an end. And though uncertainty loomed ahead, she was determined to carve her path in the dark. Life would never be the same again, and for the first time, she felt empowered, ready to face whatever hunter or prey awaited in the tangled web of the unknown. The energy shifted sharply, the game in full swing. With their eyes fixed on the unknown figure, Jenna took a step forward, ready for the challenges ahead. She would prove herself, embracing this wild, dangerous journey that had chosen her just as she had chosen it. Communicating between unspoken words, she knew this moment, this decision had changed everything. The night was alive, the chase had begun, and she was ready for every exhilarating heartbeat that came with it. The chase was on. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss our next exclusive story. Smash the like button now. Let's feed that algorithm together. Don't wait even one more second to flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about tonight's thrilling conclusion. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this intense finale. Your support matters, and only true fans know how crucial it is.